Hello everyone and welcome back to Lucky Loaders 15, where I'll be giving you 4 of my best tips for tomorrow's racing. Now before we get stuck into that, quickly just reflect on how our selections ran today. In the end it was a profitable day. We rounded off October with a nice profitable day. Our nap, Ragnar, was a really impressive winner, I thought, of the Yorkshire Hurdle at Wetherby. We actually advertised her at 2-1 and she was very well gambled, and you could see why really. She was getting all the mare's allowances plus extra weight from Ragnar Oscar, and I think really she had a lot of untapped potential over 3 miles. She put arguably some of her best form away from her mare's hurdle victory at the festival last year in her 3 mile attempts at Aintree, finishing second behind Santini, and also as well if the cap fits, and she did really well today. And the scouting team as well, they've been in red hot form over the last couple of weeks, had a couple of more winners today, and they're just a stable I think you want to be following at the moment. So I was really pleased with our nap there, Roxana. We actually put her up on in the Saddle podcast a couple of days ago on Thursday, and she was even bigger price at 4-1, and I couldn't understand at the time why she wasn't favourite. You could see why Ragnar Oscar was, but for me, I just thought getting all the weight allowances and the untapped potential, she looked a really good value, and obviously she proved to be that. Also as well, we were able to scrape a little bit of place money with Militarian, put him up at 16-1 each way last night. There was a bit of money around for him. I think he went off at 17-2 in the end. Okay, yes, the first 2 were well clear of him, but he still ran a gallant race under a nice low racing weight to collect the place money by finishing it in 3rd place. So yeah, 2 nice profitable tips there today, and we could have made a hat-trick of profitable tips as we just got touched off in the final strides with Iblio, who looked like the winner for much of the home straight, but in the end the scouting horse was just a little bit more gamer than him. He tried his heart out, and I know there will be some people on here complaining about Charlie Deutsch, why didn't he go earlier? But that's the way sometimes it comes to fruition, Sometimes you think you've got the race in the bag, and it's the horse that's been under the pump for a little bit just finds a little bit more, But I still thought it was a credible effort after a long layoff, and I think he's definitely one to probably mark up, and even going up in trip, I think maybe a race over 2.5 miles at Ascot later on in the season, or some other nice races, he'll be definitely one to follow. So yeah, not complaining too much today, and it means we end October with some profit. I know for a lot of you it would have been painful and stressful if you kept following me in, but in the last couple of weeks our form did pick up a little bit. We did have a few more winners, and in the end, yes, we just came out with a little bit of profit in October. Nothing to write home about, only up several points I think in the end, but profit is profit, and fingers crossed we can continue it into November. So yeah, let's get into the tips for tomorrow's racing, and we're going to be going across the Irish Sea tomorrow for my first selection, where I've got 4 fancies tomorrow, and we're going to be going to Cork with the next best in the 2:15 with a horse called Ragnar Lodbruk for Jack Kennedy and Gordon Elliott. Now this horse, you can currently back him at 9-4 at the time of recording, and even though he's going to be stepping up in into graded company tomorrow, I think he's got a great chance in this race, and he's got lots of untapped potential. Now last time we saw him, he was quite an easy winner at Galway. That was over 2.5 that day, and he's going to be stepping up to 3 miles, but he looks every inch a stare. He's got plenty of stamina in his pedigree, and if you go back through some of his bump form last season, it looks fairly strong. He finished 3rd behind Eric Bloodaxe, and also as well Fernie Hollow, and then he went to Leopardstown, I think it was at the Dublin Racing Festival, where he met Appreciate It, who also as well ran a really good race in the champion bumper, so a lot to like about his bumper form, and he seems like the type that's just going to really progress this season in my opinion. Gordon Elliott couldn't be in any better form, been having plenty of winners over the last couple of weeks with the amount of runners anyway he's been sending out, and also as well Jack Kennedy has returned to form since he returned a few days ago after his injury from the sideline. So I think there's lots to like about this horse tomorrow, and I think even if there's a bit of rain around and it does get a little bit more testing, that's going to suit him down to the ground, and I just think this horse is the horse in here that's got probably the most improvement to come, and I think come post time tomorrow he could be a little bit shorter than the current price he is, which is currently available at 9-4. So that's going to be the next best tomorrow, and fingers crossed we can start November with a winner. We then actually don't have to wait too long with our next tip in the 2:22 at Huntingdon with a horse called Wenceslaus for Mitchell Bastion, claiming 5, riding for David Bridgewater. Now, some of you might remember we actually put this horse up a few weeks ago. I think he was my nap that day at Utoxeter, and he ran an absolute cracker, but in the end could only finish in second place behind Death into Shine of Kerry Lee. He's quite a strong travelling type that's very versatile on all kinds of ground, and was very progressive last season over fences, got a few wins under his belt, and he seemed to run a really good race, I thought, at Utoxeter, and just bumped into one that day. The form of that Utoxeter second place has not worked out too badly. Yes, Destined to Shine did not live up to expectations next time at Wetherby, but the third place horse of Evan Williams, who's no mug, Court Royale, managed to win at Taunton a few days ago. So there's plenty to like about this horse's chances tomorrow, and I thought actually he brought some of the best form coming into this race, and if he replicates that run at Utoxeter, I think he could be quite hard to beat. He's around about a 13-2 shot with some firms, and I think that's definitely worth an each way punt here. You can currently back him at 13-2, which is with William Hill. I think there's lots to like about his chances here of running a good race, and I'd be disappointed at least if he wasn't in the first three. So Wenceslas tomorrow is going to be my extra tip of the day, and fingers crossed he can give us a good run for our money there. We then go to the Longshot for the Cork National tomorrow in the 320, and I'm going to take a bit of a flyer on one here with a horse called Mick the Jiver for Philip Emery and Owen O'Grady, currently back at 40-1 with Paddy Power, who are offering 6 places for the race tomorrow. Now this horse, I remember Mick the Jiver when I was first getting into racing a few years ago. I remember following him a few times, and he racked a few wins under his belt and went up in the weights. And ever since then, he has struggled a little bit, but he has shown in the last year or two that he does still have a little bit of ability. He ran 6th at Galway last time in a race arguably over a trip that was too short for him. He ran over just over 2 miles, and I think really if you look at his whole form, he's best over longer trips, and the stamina test tomorrow I think at Cork will really suit him. And if you go back through some of his runs last season, he actually won a handicap at Navan off a mark of 126. He's now back down to a mark of 128, which is fairly competitive. And Philip Emright was aboard that day when he won at Navan, and he's booked again to ride tomorrow. So they obviously think he's got a good chance. And that form of Galway, I should have mentioned, has worked out not too badly, because the second place horse, Bridge Native, was a winner at Down Royal yesterday. So the form doesn't look too bad. And in a race where, it's wide open and you want a bit of a price, why not have a small saver on him? I think at 40-1, he could be a little bit. His price could be a bit shorter, really. And I think come post time tomorrow, it could at least be half that price. And I would expect a good run for our money now. And I just think going up in trip under a nice low race and weight, I think he's one not to be underestimated tomorrow. And he's just a bit of a fun bet, a small stakes bet, but still nonetheless tomorrow, I think Mick the Jiver can be very competitive in this race. So that's why he's going to be my long shot of the day. We then go to Lingfield with our final selection, which is going to be the nap. Hopefully we've saved the best till last in the 405, the final race there. And we're going to go with a horse here called Kenny George for Joshua Moore and Sheena West. Now this horse, you can currently back him at 7-2 at the time of recording, and was quite progressive over hurdles last year. Ran in some fair races and won a race at Fontwell over this trip, which is just shy of 2.5 miles. And he won off a mark that day of 93, and he got put up a few pounds in the weights. Got raised £7 for that victory, up to a mark of 100. He showed a bit of ability, Kenny George, after that performance, running a few credible races. But I think in the end, maybe after running a few hard races, it just caught up with him at the end of the season, and the break did him good. Now he's only 4 that season as well, so it probably took a little bit out of him. But returning as a 5-year-old now, I think he's got maybe a little bit more to come, really, and I think he should improve with age. He's off a mark of 100 tomorrow, like I said, and he had a spin on the flat last time at Newbury, which I think was a fair effort that day. It was 50-1. Yes, he was well beaten in the end, but it was quite a big field, and I think that he'll come a lot forward for that, and he'll strip fitter as well. And this isn't a particularly strong race on his return over hurdles tomorrow, and I think there's a good chance of him being there or thereabouts. Also as well, the yard have had a winner in the last fortnight, so no problems there. And I just think this horse tomorrow, Kenny George, is a massive player in this race, and it didn't look a particularly strong race, and a lot of these I think will need the run, and also as well might not handle the ground well. We know Kenny George can handle some dig in the ground. So for me, at 7-2 tomorrow, I think he's fair value there, and I could definitely see him going off maybe 5-2, 9-4, that kind of price come post time tomorrow. So that's going to be my nap of the day, and fingers crossed we can get November off to a winning start. So quickly just go through the 4 tips there. In the 2:15 at Cork, we go with Ragnar, Lodbruk, 9-4, win only, bet as the next best. The extra tip of the day runs in the 2:22 at Huntingdon with Wenceslaus, currently 13-2 each way. with William Hill's recommended bet in the 320 at Cork. We go with Mick the Driver, 6 places each way. Paddy Power currently available at 40 to 1, and then the nap of the day runs in the 405 at Lingfield with Kenny George, 7 to 2 win only bet. So if you haven't done so already, please make sure you hit the subscribe button for more videos here on my YouTube channel. You can also follow me on Twitter as well, where my handle is at LuckyLoader15. And also as well, if you want to find out a little bit more about myself, check out my website, which is www.chrisloaderracing.co.uk. So please gamble responsibly. Hopefully we can have some winners tomorrow, and we'll be seeing you soon.